Today we're here to pay tribute to Harold Williams, 97 years young, a veteran of World War II. And what I'd like to do is begin by reading a letter, Harold, that you're going to get later on today. It says, Dear Harold, it is a pleasure to send greetings and congratulations to you on the auspicious occasion of your 98th birthday celebration, which will be Saturday. This is the perfect opportunity for family, friends, and neighbors to pay tribute to an extraordinary individual who has led a full and rich life and continues to make the most of each day. You have certainly seen remarkable changes throughout your nearly 10 decades, especially during your participation as a technician 5th grade in the United States Army in 7 different campaigns during World War II, including some of the most significant and historical battles, such as Omaha Beach on D-Day and the Battle of the Bulge. Your efforts help shape and define our nation and the world. I commend the many contributions you have made to your family, including your 4 children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, to your community, to the great state of New York, and to the United States of America. As a proud Army veteran and a member of the U.S. Postal Service, your energy and enthusiasm inspire all who have been so fortunate to make your acquaintance, and I'm honored to extend my best wishes for the many continued blessings ahead. With warmest regards, sincerely, Andrew M. Cuomo, Governor, State of New York.
Governor Cuomo.
Carol, I know you're a Republican, but please don't be offended. Okay. A staunch Republican in my head. All right, today I'm going to set the purpose for why we're here to pay tribute to Harold. So I'd like to share some of his biography. Much of this I've gained by talking to Harold himself.
I wish that
On
would
our many phone calls. So I'm going to begin this. Harold was born in 1923. In Lebanon Springs, New York. He attended school at 40 Corners Elementary School through the 8th grade. But because he grew up in a depression, times were tough and his family felt the full brunt of the Great Depression. So Harold had to go to work in the field.
Well, he's getting better now, louder.
So Harold had to work in the fields. Later, he got a job in a mill. And his boss found out he was underage. So he called him over and said, Harold, I'm going to have to fire you. And Harold said simply, if you fire me, we're not going to be able to pay the rent. So he continued to work to help his mother and father and his younger sister out. He then got a job at the Arsenal. And when he worked at the Arsenal, he was there for some time. He was around 19 years old. And what happened, he decided he didn't want to work there anymore. So he told his boss, he says, I think I'm going to quit. And his boss said, son, the only way you're getting out of here is if you enlist in the military, which Harold promptly did. He went up to the colonel's house, filled out the enlistment papers, and he went to basic training. Later on in that training, he was assigned to the 62nd Armored Field Artillery Battalion. And shortly afterwards, in the late 1942, he was deployed to the North African campaign, where he began working alongside the 1st Infantry Division. He began in the North African campaign, where at this time, they moved across Morocco and Algeria and into Tunisia, where his tank battalion in the 1st Infantry Division fought the Germans at the Kasserine Pass, one of the more famous tank battles in World War II. Now, Harold had the very dangerous job of forward observer. This was a person who went out in front of the troops, got as close to the enemy as possible, and wired their coordinates back to his artillery units so they could put cover and fire down for the infantry division. After Tunisia, they went into Libya, and as the Germans retreated, plans were made to invade Sicily. Harold did this, but at the same time, amphibious vehicle was stranded on a sandbar, and the people that were with him had to put up with a barrage of incoming fire from both German and Italian troops. What saved them from a complete disaster was the fact that the United States Army Air Force intervened and put strafing fire down on the Germans and Italians, and Harold and his unit were able to escape, but there were a number of losses. They battled their way to Palermo, where Harold got a change of orders to go to England. Now, two things happened in England. One, he met a girl named Sarah Hodson and fell in love. But duty called. Harold was there to plan for the D-Day invasion, which they did on June 6, 1944. Harold was in the first wave of soldiers that raided Omaha Beach, the scene of the most casualties that day. Up the cliffs they went. They battled their way through St. Lo, the city of St. Lo, and the St. Lo hedgerows, and they moved towards Paris, France. On September 7th of 1944, Harold got orders to report to the Ardennes. What later happened was the Battle of the Bulge, which occurred between December 12th, 1944 and January 25th of 1945. Now, Harold's unit participated in two of the greatest battles of the Battle of the Bulge, Hurricane Forest and Elson Warren Bridge, where his unit and other units took out more than 60 German tanks, 40 at Elson Warren Bridge alone. With that, the Germans began to retreat back into Germany. Harold's unit followed and participated in the invasion of Germany. They famously battled at Leipzig and made their way to Berlin, which was already under Allied control. But Harold's work wasn't done. His unit went to the Czechoslovakian border, where they had three missions. One, free people from the concentration camps and close them down. Two, provide an occupation force to keep the area safe. And three, prevent Russian soldiers from committing mass atrocities against the German civilian population.
Go ahead, I got it.
Harold was discharged honorably from the service in October of 1945.
I'll
He
turn
made
it
his
down.
way back home. During that time, though,
Who was it?
back to the love story with Harold. Harold's her parents did not want her to come to America, let alone marry in America. But they put Harold to the test. He had to write love letters between him and Sarah for about a year, and then her family consented to let her come over to America. Harold went down to New York, met his future wife on the boat, brought her up to Malaysia, and eventually married her the same year. He enjoyed a 41-year marriage, in which he raised 4 children, David and Debbie, who are behind me, Beth and Susan, who are on the Zoom link. He then worked for the United States Post Office in Malaysia for almost 30 years. But in late 86, 87, Sarah, who had heart disease, she fell ill, and eventually on Memorial Day, 1987, she passed away. Harold met a woman named Marie Rothermel, who was a friend of the family and had provided some assistance when Harold's original wife was sick. They had a friendship bond, which later became more than a friendship bond. Harold took her on a picnic to a lake in Pittsfield. That led to 3 dates, a 3-month engagement, and he was later married the same year, and he's married to Marie still for 32 years. So here's a guy that you're looking at, folks, that has been married 74 of 97 years of his life successfully. Now that I've laid the groundwork for why we're honoring Harold's Day, I'd just like to wrap up this segment by saying 3 things. Harold took care of his family when he was a child. He served an exemplary record in World War II, and took care of his family after the war. And those are the kind of things that make Harold one part of what we now call the greatest generation. He served his community, he served his country, he served his family. And now, without further ado, I would like to present or have Suzanne Guntlow, the superintendent of the Ichabod Crane School District, who's going to do a very, very special presentation. Superintendent Guntlow.
Good morning. As Mr. Mullins said, my name is Suzanne Guntlow, and I have the honor of being the superintendent of the Ichabod Crane Central School District in Galatia, New York.
Huh.
It's both a pleasure and a privilege to be here today with all of you and with my colleague, Mr. Shull, our high school principal, to honor you, Harold Williams, with an Ichabod Crane High School Diploma as part of the New York State Operation Recognition Program. I have your diploma here that we'll give to your children. Congratulations. Harold Williams came to our attention a few months ago, thanks to the effort of Tom Mullins, a veterans advocate joining us today. Mr. Mullins personally reached out and told me of Mr. Williams' incredible story, how he left school during the Great Depression to begin working to help support his family, how he joined the Army to serve his country for many, many years, as we heard this morning, during World War II, and then he eventually returned back home to Galatia, New York. After speaking with Mr. Mullins, there was absolutely no doubt in my mind that Harold Williams deserved to receive this high school diploma. I knew that Ichabod Crane would be proud to have someone like him included among its alumni, and I brought the request forward right away to our Board of Education at a recent meeting. It was also no surprise when they unanimously approved Mr. Williams to receive an Ichabod Crane High School diploma.
Yay.
Part of Ichabod Crane's mission statement speaks of how our district is dedicated to preparing students to become contributing members of society in an ever-changing world. And Harold Williams is the very embodiment of that particular value. His story speaks volumes about selfless generosity in service of the greater good for society and about the resilience we are all capable of during seismic moments of history that can feel often inescapable. It struck me as particularly meaningful right now when we are all making daily sacrifices and looking for moments of hope or inspiration during what feels like a never-ending pandemic. To say the least, Harold Williams is an inspiration for the current generation of Ichabod Crane students living through this moment in history. And as a newly official Ichabod graduate, Ichabod graduate, he is now
That's a joke.
many future generations of our students. I want to thank everyone who put in all the hard work necessary for Mr. Williams to be recognized by Operation Recognition and receive his diploma today. Before any of this even came to our district's attention, there was much time taken by Mr. Williams' family and Mr. Mullins to gather the necessary documentation and information. It is your efforts that truly made this all possible, and I speak for our entire district today when I say we are absolutely honored that you have included us in the celebration of this local hero. Thank you once again.
I know, hero.
Congratulations.
You're a hero.
No.
Yay.
I have one other presentation. I'll do this quickly. Congressman Delgado of the 19th District sends his regards. He also sent this United States flag, which flew over the Capitol. And we'll be giving this to you later today. In addition, he sent a short note, and I'll read this. Dear Harold, please accept my warmest salutations in honor of your 98th birthday, a milestone which I understand you will achieve on January 23rd of this year. I hope that yours is a special day filled with meaningful celebrations. The vitality of New York's 19th congressional district is derived from the character of its constituents, both past and present. For nearly a century, you have helped to ensure the strength and dignity of our community through selfless dedication to the well-being of those around you, as evidenced by your courageous service during World War II and your volunteer efforts. It is an honor to represent your hometown in Congress, and we are profoundly lucky to count you as a native member of our community. Again, on behalf of New York's 19th District, I wish you the happiest of birthdays and hope the best for you in the years to come. Signed, Antonio Delgado, Member of Congress. And now I'd like to ask our next presenter, New York State Senator Daphne Jordan of the 43rd District and a real advocate for veterans, to come to the podium.
Good morning, everyone. And good morning, Harold. I'm so happy to meet you, even if it is virtually. I'm Senator Daphne Jordan, and I'm pleased to be here with my colleagues in public service who are also here to honor you today. Assemblyman Jake Ashby, Ichabod Crane School Superintendent Suzanne Guntlow, and Valatia Mayor Diane Argyle. I also want to recognize and thank
Mayor Argyle.
the Reverend Francis Kelly Society, who's worked so hard organizing today's event. So thank you very much, Tom. We gather today to honor you, Tech 5 Harold Williams, United States Army 62nd Armored Field Artillery Battalion, North African and European Theater of Operations during World War II. Tech 5 Williams, 98 years young. You are one of less than 50 Capital District who survived the D-Day invasion on Omaha Beach on June 6, 1944. You are truly a representative of the greatest generation. A tested and true American patriot who defended freedom and defeated tyranny. A diploma was just issued to you, Mr. Williams, through Operation Recognition, which recognizes the devotion and sacrifice of all our veterans who left school early by presenting them with a high school diploma. And now it is my distinct honor to present to you, you will get it later, I will hand it to your children, a New York State Senate proclamation and the Liberty Medal. This is the Liberty Medal.
Yeah.
Gotta get another tissue.
Oh, I got boxes of them.
The Liberty Medal is considered the highest honor a New York resident can receive, bestowed by the Senate. The Liberty Medal recognizes individuals who have performed exceptional, heroic, or humanitarian acts on behalf of other New York residents. And sir, you have done that. America owes you our deep and abiding respect and appreciation for your faithful, courageous service. It is our honor to honor you. Congratulations, Harold Williams, and thank you for your service. And I hope to meet you in person someday, not through Zoom.
Huh.